A young composer storms out of a palace after being insulted by a powerful archbishop. He has just quit one of the most prestigious jobs in European music. For most musicians, this would have meant the end of their career. But not for Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Because Mozart was not just another composer. Many historians believe he may have been the most naturally gifted musical mind in human history. A man who could hear entire symphonies in his head before writing a single note. A prodigy who stunned kings, emperors, and audiences across Europe. But the real question is this: just how good was Mozart actually? Was he truly the greatest musical genius of all time? Or has history exaggerated the legend? To understand Mozart's greatness, we have to go back to where the story began. In a modest third-floor apartment on Getreidegasse 9 in Salzburg. His father, Leopold Mozart, was more than just a court violinist. He was a dedicated teacher, a respected composer, and the author of a violin method still referenced centuries later. From the earliest days, the Mozart household was shaped by discipline and purpose. Leopold's approach to education was both rigorous and broad. Mornings began with Latin, geography, and history, followed by hours at the clavier or violin. Wolfgang's earliest memories were filled with the sound of scales, counterpoint drills, and the measured ticking of a metronome. Leopold's teaching was methodical. His Treatise eine gründlichen Violinschule set the standard for violin instruction across Europe, and he applied its principles at home. Daily practice logs preserved in family correspondence reveal a strict routine. Wolfgang and his sister Nannerl alternated between technical exercises and composition assignments, each expected to master new material before moving on. Mistakes were corrected, not indulged. Evenings often ended with family performances where both children played before invited guests, testing not just their skill, but their poise under pressure. This environment was not only about nurturing talent, it was about building it step by step. Leopold insisted that Wolfgang compose a new piece every week, developing not just dexterity but the habits of a working musician. The household ran like a small conservatory, with Leopold as conductor, teacher, and critic. Behind the image of the effortless prodigy stood years of structured, relentless training, a foundation that would soon propel Wolfgang onto the stages of Europe and into the imagination of history. In 1762, the Mozart children stepped onto Europe's grandest stages. Their first appearances in Munich and Vienna placed 6-year-old Wolfgang and his sister Nannerl before the Elector of Bavaria and Empress Maria Theresa. Court documents from Vienna describe their duets as dazzling, with seasoned musicians and nobles marveling at the children's skill. The family's journey soon stretched across the continent. By July 1763, they travelled through Munich, Paris and London, performing for audiences that included aristocrats and the public alike. In Paris, Wolfgang, just 8 years old, unveiled his symphony in E-flat major, K16, earning applause and generous gifts from patrons. Concert bills listed them as the prodigies of Salzburg, and Leopold received 30 livres per concert, a testament to the demand for their performances. London offered new heights. Wolfgang, now 9 years old, played for King George III and Queen Charlotte, improvising on royal themes. His first keyboard concerto, K1, and a duet with Nannerl stunned the Royal Society's musicians and scientists. Johann Christian Bach, music master to the Queen, welcomed Wolfgang into his circle, sharing scores and advice that would influence the young composer's style. The tour's impact was measured in astonished reactions. Nannerl's playing drew comparisons to her brothers, while Wolfgang's improvisations seemed to outpace his years. By the time they returned to Salzburg in 1766, Wolfgang had composed his first symphony at 8 years old and his first opera by 11 years old. It was public proof of a genius the courts could not ignore. In the Sistine Chapel, the papal choir sang Allegri's Miserere, a piece shrouded in secrecy for over a century. The Vatican guarded its score fiercely, threatening excommunication for anyone who tried to copy it. In the congregation, 14-year-old Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart listened, his father Leopold beside him. Legend says Mozart left that service and from memory alone wrote out the entire 6-part polyphony. The earliest account comes from Leopold himself. In a letter dated April 14th, he described how his son had made a copy from memory, fully aware of the Vatican's ban. The Regulae Cantorum, the Sistine Chapel Choir's rulebook, spelled out strict penalties for anyone removing or transcribing the music. Yet there is no record of Vatican officials punishing Mozart or anyone else. The secrecy only added to the music's mystique and to Mozart's reputation. Scholars now believe Mozart likely captured the core structure, not the choir's annual improvisations and ornamentation. Still, the feat demanded an exceptional ear and command of counterpoint. Whether or not he caught every detail, the episode stands as proof of a rare musical mind, one able to absorb and reconstruct complex music after a single hearing. The Allegri story endures, blurring the line between fact and legend. Mozart's creative output defies easy comparison. By the time of his death in 1791, he had written more than 600 works, a number that continues to astonish scholars and musicians alike. The Köchel catalogue, first assembled in 1862 and now revised several times, lists symphonies, concertos, operas, chamber pieces, and sacred music. Each assigned a K number that traces the arc of his career from childhood sketches to the final unfinished requiem. The range itself is staggering: over 40 symphonies, 27 piano concertos, 22 operas, and countless sonatas, quartets, and divertimenti. No other composer of his era matched this breadth or pace. Where Bach's genius was shaped by church duty and Beethoven's by painstaking revision, Mozart's process seemed almost effortless. Autograph manuscripts show entire movements written in a single sitting. The overture to The Marriage of Figaro, for example, was completed overnight, just hours before its premiere. Eine kleine Nachtmusik, one of the most beloved serenades in Western music, was finished in 3 days. Symphony No. 41, The Jupiter, emerged in under 3 weeks. Mozart himself offered a rare glimpse into his method in a letter dated July 29, 1778. He wrote, "When I am completely myself, ideas flow best and most abundantly." Contemporaries described him sketching a quartet while carrying on a conversation or composing a concerto between lessons. His mind seemed to hold entire works before a note was set to paper. Even among prodigies, this combination of speed, fluency, and variety stands apart. It is not simply the volume, but the sustained brilliance across every genre that sets Mozart's catalogue apart from those of Bach, Beethoven, or Chopin. The stage was now set for the next leap, the transformation of opera. 1786. The curtain rises on The Marriage of Figaro in Vienna. With this opera, Mozart does more than entertain. He reinvents what opera can be. The first act finale unfolds as a living tapestry. 6 characters, each with their own motives, sing over and around each other, their voices weaving together in a single, unstoppable surge. This isn't just music, it's drama, psychology, and comedy, all in real time. Audiences had never heard anything like it. The old boundaries between aria and ensemble dissolve. Characters don't just pause to sing, they reveal themselves, exposed and vulnerable, through music that moves as quickly as their thoughts. A year later, Don Giovanni storms the stage in Prague. Here, Mozart fuses light and darkness, comedy and terror. The orchestra becomes a character, shadowing the anti-hero's every step, echoing his bravado and his doom. The final scene, with its chilling chords and supernatural judgment, pushes the art form to its limits. Then, in 1791, the magic flute arrives, a fairy tale on the surface, but beneath it a work full of Masonic symbols and Enlightenment ideals. The Queen of the Night's arias soar to impossible heights, while Papageno's folk-like tunes ground the story in everyday humanity. Mozart's operas now speak with a new voice, one that gives every character depth, every ensemble real dramatic weight, and every symbol a layer of meaning. Each premiere leaves the court both dazzled and uneasy, as Mozart's vision outpaces the world around him. Vienna's glittering courts brought applause and envy in equal measure. After the premiere of The Marriage of Figaro, Emperor Joseph II is said to have leaned over and remarked, "Too many notes, Mozart." The words, captured in a court diary from 1786, echo the unease Mozart's music sometimes inspired, admiration tinged with bafflement at its daring complexity. Yet for every imperial critique, there were whispers in the wings. The story of Antonio Salieri, cast as Mozart's jealous enemy, took root in later centuries. Surviving letters and court records show a different reality. Salieri conducted Mozart's works, praised Don Giovanni and mourned his passing. The legend of rivalry, sharpened by rumour and drama, has outlived the facts. As Mozart's fortunes waned, a new commission arrived in September 1791. An anonymous messenger delivered a contract for a requiem mass, signed by Count Franz von Wolfsegg. The fee was generous, but the patron insisted on secrecy. Wolfsegg planned to claim the music as his own. Mozart, exhausted and often ill, worked through autumn, convinced he was writing his own funeral music. On December 5th, 1791, he died before the requiem could be finished. The manuscript, left in fragments, passed to his student Susmer. The mystery of those final weeks, who truly completed the score, what ended Mozart's life, remains unsolved. In the silence that followed, the world was left to wonder, how much genius can one lifetime hold, and how much is lost to myth? Today, Mozart's music still fills concert halls and digital playlists alike, over 600 works, born from a mind that defies easy explanation. As we debate the nature of genius, one truth endures. When he was completely himself, the world changed. That mystery still beckons us to listen closer,